Right, Roly and Sally, thanks for coming along and chatting to us about the Southern Community Orthopedic Triage Service, our Scots program. You've both obviously been through the program, the exercise and the education components, and I'd love to have a chat with you today about how that has gone for you. Sally, to start with, tell us a little bit about your condition and your journey so far with that condition.
I love to walk my dogs. I have a Springer Spaniel and a Springer Cross, so they need quite a bit of walking. Mm-hmm. Also, walking my dogs on the beach or out in the bush is really my happy place. I found that I wasn't able to walk them as far or as fast because I had pain in my left knee. Then I also had episodes where my knee would give away a little bit. So that was really impacting on something that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And I found I had my hand on the rail going downstairs. That's kind of how it impacted on my life.
Were you affected by both knees?
Just my left knee.
Yeah.
I also, which has improved, I have some arthritis in my right foot. And I'll talk about that a little later.
Okay, and Roly, what's your condition?
Well, I've led a very active life. I played rugby till I was 30, I played football till I was 44, and I refereed rugby till I was 56. So I've had a lot of use of my knee over the years. I was playing golf and I knew I'd injured something, and sure enough, it was a torn meniscus. And then 5 years later, I was walking down a scree slope and I really did some damage to my knee. So that was 12 years ago, and I think what's happened is possibly the osteoarthritis may have been started by that, but now it's continued. Only one knee. The good thing about it, and we might get onto this later, is that it doesn't stop me sleeping.
That's a blessing. Sometimes sleep is a real problem for people with osteoarthritis. And your journey through the Scots program, Roly, can you tell me how you accessed the program and then how that went for you?
Well, I'm pretty sure my GP put me onto it, and I think I had to have a referral from my GP. So I came. I didn't know what I was expecting, and it's been a very helpful way of learning how to live with this.
Describe for me the actual Scots program from your perspective. What did it entail?
Very soon I was actually very impressed. I got a phone call from the Orthopedic department saying that I had been accepted onto the Scots program. Then I was referred to the physio for 6 weeks, so that ended up being 12 sessions. And then another appointment with you, and then afterwards I went to the education side of it. But the timeliness, I was very impressed with.
I'd like you to tell me a little bit about the highs and lows of the exercise program component first of all. So the things that you found really good, the things that you found really challenging.
The biggest challenge was being able to walk in a straight line. Many of the exercises were beneficial, provided I keep on doing them. But I think that was quite a challenge to realise how poor my balance was. I just really enjoyed the variety. We didn't do the same exercises every week. And when we concluded the 12 sessions, I've been given something like 31 exercises, so I don't get into the pattern of doing the same thing all the time.
Sally, what was the exercise highs and lows for you?
Having done numerous Ironman distance and half Ironman distance triathlons, the physio that I went to realised that pretty quickly. He knew that he could push me. One particular day I'd had a very stressful day at work. He quickly realised that if he had told me to just do it 40 times, I would have done it. That's my background in endurance athletics. You just do it. That day was really quite an eye-opener to me. No boom and bust, because I would have just done it. So I slowly did more and more. The pain in my knee went, the strength in my knee came, and as a result, I only realised later that I was also strengthening my right foot.
And were you in a class set up as far as your exercises were concerned?
I was on my own, and I went to the gym. It made me realise how much I had enjoyed going to the gym, and I've joined the gym and I'm going back to the gym now.
So that's motivated you beyond the program?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Roly? Were you in a class or were you one-to-one?
No, I was in the group, the class, and had the 12 sessions in the class. And because I'm a ESFP on Myers-Briggs, I loved that. I enjoyed the repartee and everything. It was great. But I'm interested in Sally's comment about going to the gym, because that's something I think I need to start doing. But I'm not sure. I want to go to one that's very thoughtful about older people.
What advice would you give to somebody, Roly, who was about to embark on the Scots program?
If you're going to start this, you've got to keep on doing it. And I think it's no good thinking that at the end of the 12 sessions you're going to be set up for life, because it's got to be something you practice regularly.
Yes.
And fortunately, my wife and I both have knee issues, so we've been able to do a lot of that together.
Yes. That support component is really important, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'm not sure I would be able to do all that on my own. And I think the support in the group was good for that too. Right. Yeah.
Tell us about the education component of the Scots program. Not only the education day, but what you may have learned about your condition through the whole program.
I found the medication session very, very helpful, because the range of possibilities there, and I've kind of taken on board one or two of those.
Mm-hmm. So by medication you mean analgesia or pain relief?
Yeah,
pain relief. Yeah. Okay.
Kind of did bring a balance to the whole thing, that it's not just an exercise thing, it's a lifestyle thing.
Being a registered nurse, a lot of that information I was aware of, so it's always good to just have a reminder. It's also beneficial to hear and see some of the other people in the group where they were in their journey. And I think one of the things that I got out of the session was a reinforcement about surgery not being the answer. I'm somebody whose surgery's at the very end of the list, but I saw some people in the group who thought that surgery would fix it all. And I remember you saying you may have a knee replacement, you have another knee, it's not the knee you have now. And that really, if I can make my knee strong, make my knee, the one I was born with, do as much, that's about the best thing. And if surgery for some people is what they need to do, and that's okay.
So tell me what you remember, what you recall as your primary message from the nutrition presentation.
The plate size. And I remember you brought a plate along and how 100 years ago the plates were a lot smaller.
Yes.
And I think we've just insidiously started eating more and more and more. And the example of how much you eat by using your hand.
Yes.
Because we always have them with us.
We do, hopefully.
So it's it's a quick way of referring and remembering.
Well, I think that they covered such a variety of foods, and it's really just getting the balance. I've been to nutrition department things before, so it was kind of reaffirming.
Okay, what about you've talked already, Roly, about the impact that the chemist's presentation had on you. Have you got any specific memories about that?
Probably what to avoid in terms of medication. It was just good to know what each of the medications' aim is, what it's set out to accomplish. That was helpful.
I really enjoyed her presentation. I spend a lot of my day as a registered nurse talking to people about pain relief. And I sat back and wished that she was over my shoulder often. Really, I loved the way she presented things. I have in the past used chondroitin and glucopamine. You know, it's nice to not always go to the hardcore. Sometimes people do need the strong medication, but there are other things that you can use as well.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. We had other presentations on pacing. You've talked already about boom and bust, managing sleep, strategies to manage sleep. We looked at extrinsic and intrinsic motivation and what motivates us to keep going, value-based, strength-based motivation to continue and to set our goals. So, Sally, what sort of thoughts have you got around those presentations? What memories do you have of that you've been able to carry through to your everyday life?
I'm somebody who's always used goals. There was the reminder about the short-term goal setting, and sometimes that goal setting can just be 5 minutes long. The goal is I'm going to walk up the stairs. So to the long-term goals. So for me personally, one of those long-term goals is to be able to walk my dog 7 days a week for an hour or more. I'd got that back to half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'm now about 3 times a week managing to walk them for an hour. Good. And just slowly building that in. And I think the important thing about goal setting, which we don't always do, is to look back and see what we've achieved and to keep our goals smart. They need to be measurable, not some airy-fairy thing in the sky. It needs to be something concrete that you can measure. And if you fail, because we do fail when we set our goals, is to maybe just go back, reevaluate, so that we're constantly reaching. But if we don't achieve our goals, we become quite despondent.
One of the characteristics of my personality is the avoidance of pain. So I have to work very hard to be disciplined enough to do the 3 exercise sessions a week, and I don't always hit that. I've discovered that if I use walking poles, I can walk for quite a while, trying to keep the balance between improving my movement, keeping fit, and doing what I have to do.
And the relationship between exercise and pain, is that tell me about that.
Well, I always feel better after I've cycled and on my exercycle and done some exercise. I always feel better after that, probably endorphins and things like that. I mean, I said at the day that my knee never had been so sore. So that was, 4 weeks ago or something? Well, I feel it's a whole lot better just because I'm doing those regular exercises, pushing myself, breaking a few barriers, just trying to do the thing.
We talk a lot in the Scots program about focusing on our strengths, focusing on the things that we can do and using that as a springboard to move forwards. And both of you have described that really well about the things that you can do just a little bit more of because you're setting realistic goals, whether it's nutritionally or small tweaks in your analgesia or pain relief, whether it's looking and reflecting on the kind of person that you are, and you've done that a couple of times, Roly, saying what kind of person you are, therefore having to adjust your goals to be realistic to you, to what's important to you, and that's really important to your progress through the Scots program. I want you now just to reflect on the person with osteoarthritis in their knees who is in a small town in South Otago who has been referred by their GP into a program like the Scots program. What would your advice to them be?
If you need to travel for a couple of your assessments, I suggest you do that because it's well worth it. Have some people around you who can help you. We all need somebody whether that's a partner, a husband, a friend, somebody, if you've gone to the program like Roly did, other people in the group. I think it's to have people that can encourage you. And when you get despondent, because at times you will, to have somebody that you can talk to, little bits at a time. It doesn't happen quickly. The only thing that's instant in life is McDonald's.
That is so important in the Scots program. Achieving your goals by yourself is almost impossible. And even if you live by yourself, you still have the opportunity to engage in what I call your circle of influence, whoever that happens to be. And we refer often to a support person as being a tailwind and not a headwind. We are aiming, of course, to be much more available across the region, and that's in the future, hopefully, positively. Roly, what's your thoughts about advice you would give to somebody in Lumsden who has been plagued with knee pain for years? What advice would you give them?
I think for me, to be in that room at the nutrition department with people who all had my problem, whether it be shoulder or knee, because I've actually got both, but I found that enabling and encouraging, that we weren't just a group of people randomly put together. We were working through this.
I have had previous feedback from similar sort of forums where people would like some sort of ongoing Scots alumni where you're able to get together on a regular basis. And that will take some organising. And that may come through Arthritis New Zealand. I don't know where that's going to happen. They've got some opportunities coming in the future. So that's again a space that we're going to explore in the future.
We'll put up my hand for that, because I'd...
Right. So it's on record that Roly has volunteered.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, thank you so much for being part of this conversation, and other people around the region are going to be very grateful for your input. So thanks very much.
Thank you.